welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Do-It-Yourself Budget Hot Rodding Holiday Edition. Okay, how many times have I heard this? How many times have you heard this? Bad things happening, when you're driving to a loved one, someone that you know, and the breakdown probably could have been prevented. Well, I've heard this a lot. And, it never fails whenever you have one of these breakdowns. It's always the worst possible case scenario. It's cold. There's you're nowhere close to home. And, you guys know, you've all heard these stories. And you hear about them every year. They keep happening. Well, a lot of times, some of these, and not all of them, but some of these incidences could have been possibly avoided. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over some things. Even if it seems silly and mundane, we're going to go over it anyways, because the more you do, even as silly and as mundane to however possibly important it could possibly be, do it anyways. So let's start off with mundane. It doesn't seem like a super important thing, but let's start off with our washer fluid. Project Lena actually has a little indicator that tells us when her fluid is getting low for her windshield, her windshield washer, and it actually told me this, and I just happen to have some de-icer that we use for actually both cars, both Project Lena and Project Spirit. So we're going to go ahead and just fill that up. Use the last of this jug. I went and picked up another jug. Again, I know this doesn't seem like a super big deal, but starting with something as simple and as mundane as something like, windshield washer fluid, that's a mouthful when you try to say it too fast, it gets you kind of in the right frame of mind. So I would start there, unless you're me and you just go. And try not to spill this crap everywhere. There we go. Actually, you know what? We're almost full anyways. Might as well just go ahead and put it all in there. Actually, won't hold anymore. But that little bit be just fine. Alright. So now we've got that all taken care of. Next up on our list, we need to check the oil. Okay? Now, checking the oil, this is where we go from mundane to, actually, that's kind of important. We might want to do that. So, let me grab a couple of paper towels. Alright, so I've got our couple of paper towels, and I know it's, again, some of you out there know how to check your own oil, and some of you out there don't. And with most vehicles, it's actually ridiculously easy. There's going to be some sort of a dipstick, somewhere on the engine. You pull it and it's got oil on it. Okay, there's also other ones that have transmission fluid. Project Lena does not have a dipstick to check her transmission fluid level. Project Spirit does, which should tell you something. But anyhow, it's ridiculously easy. I'm going to show you the best I can, but we're going to wipe this off and it'll make sense. But if you look right there, right in there, that tells you how far it's supposed to be full. Okay, that's it. Alright, just like that. So, now that we've wiped it clean now, and you got an idea of what you're looking for, and on every vehicle it's going to be a little bit different, but by and large, there's a lot to it that's going to be pretty well the same. Alright, even though it might look different, it's still the same, if you will. Yeah. Alright, so when you go to do this the first time, you're going to pull the dipstick, you're going to wipe it clean, just like that. Then replace it. Pull it again, okay? And looking at the dipstick, Project Lena is actually, she's fine. She's full. We do not have to add engine oil to Project Lena at all. But if we did have to, that's actually easy to do. The oil cap is right there. You're going to pop that. And you just fill her up right there. Look for something that looks kind of like this on your engine. It'll be on the valve cover, and that's the valve cover. There's your, your fuel injection, intake, and all that underneath there, the fuel rails. Okay, so it'll be real easy to spot. So it'll be somewhere on the top of the engine. You'll pour it right in and get a funnel if you're worried about spilling it. It's that easy. Now, some of you out there don't know what type of oil to use. The weight, okay? Project Lena tells you right there on the cap, 5W30. Consult your owner's manual. Talk to a mechanic. Take it over to one of your local auto parts places. Say, hey, I need to pick up some engine oil for my car. I really don't know what kind it takes. They'll look it up for you. So, really have no excuse on this one. It's that easy, all right? And now, really quick, and this is kind of one of those things I definitely should recommend as a quick tip, but today, we're going to just throw that quick tip in. Keep paper towels inside of your vehicle. I don't care if it's your project vehicle or anything like that. When you go to, a lot of us hit up local fast food places. I happen to work at one, and I'll get my crew meal, and I'll go out to, I'll go to come home after work, and I always keep the paper towels from my meal in the car. Why do I do that? Well, for moments just like this. It's disposable. And if you ever have any messes or anything gets spilled inside your vehicle, you've got napkins and paper towels on hand, ready to go. So that's a quick tip, and we'll throw it in for all of you. Next up on our list of things, well, believe it or not, cooling. Now, this should again be that no-brainer, right? We should be, it's like, well, duh. Again, we're making a long trip. And, how many people really think to do this? Some of you out there will. Some of them be like, duh. But there's a lot of people that don't. The next thing you know, the engine's overheating on a cold day. Yeah, that actually, I've heard of that. So, take that time. Let's get her topped off. And she's not super low. Actually, she's still pretty good. But we're going to go ahead and fill her up anyways. Bring her back up to the level that we want. And after a drive, and she cools down a bit, I'll check her again. I'll check her a couple of times between now and the holidays. Okay? For those of you who celebrate Christmas, for me, it's winter solstice. But the rest of my family refuses to, anyhow. That's my family issues, not yours. Alrighty. So we have that taken care of. So now, that is one less thing we have to worry about. So we checked the oil, and we've topped off the radiator. We've got washer fluid. What's something else that we could check? What's a fluid that we could check? Power steering. Even though we just had this replaced, and it's still full, which again, we're back to, some of these will have indicators on them. Read the indicator. It'll tell you where it's supposed to be. But in this case, it's just got to be full almost to the top. That's it. Okay? And wouldn't you know it, I have power steering fluid on my hand. Back to our paper towels. Okay? You can wipe your hands off real quick. This is why I tell you guys to do things like that. Even as mundane, as simple as as silly as it might be. Alright. Let's crack on. So we've done that, okay? We've now checked the power steering. Radiator's topped off. Engine oil is fine. We're now over, windshield washer fluid is okay. Want something else? You guessed it. Master cylinder. How's our brake fluid? Which it's just fine once again. We just top that off. We don't really have to worry about it. And I can actually see the marker. Oh, why is it every time I'm doing this filming? Okay, there we go. And because these are clear, I can see where it is, you know, but I like it to be a certain level. But anyhow, it's fine for where it's at. If you need to, now would be the time to top it off. So we've got this all taken care of. Looking good. Looking good, Lena. All right. So we are pretty well taken care of here. But what's something else that we can do? You guessed it. Tires. A lot of folks don't think to check their tire pressure. Now, this is one of those things that a lot of people kind of get wrong when they really should be able to get it right. It's actually ridiculously easy, and once you see it done, I promise you, it'll be like, why haven't I been doing this the whole time? The first tool that you're going to need, which it's really the only tool you're going to need, is one of these, okay? Now, this is a tire pressure gauge. This is the type I've used for years, okay? Now, in the past, many of us remember those ones that were like a stick. And then now we're getting into where we're getting to digital ones. But I still prefer something like this. Why is that? Okay. The ones with the sticks, I've always had kind of goofy luck with them, all right? And goofy, weird, almost bad luck with them. And let me explain. You go to push it on, and if you don't quite get it just right, well, the stick doesn't come out to the, where it's supposed to. It might, it oftentimes comes up short. I just put 6 tons of fluid, air in this tire. I've just put 6 tons of air in this tire, and it's still saying it's, at 25 pounds. Why is that? Well, you didn't get quite straight on there just right. And it didn't give you an accurate reading. These, even if you don't get it on there, you can kind of wiggle it a little bit, and it'll give you the, eventually it'll give you the exact amount, not this, and then hope you got it right, okay? So with these, it's a little bit more, the chances of getting it right is actually a lot better than you think. Now, why not digital? Okay, because we're getting into a more digital age. This is going to start making make a lot of sense. In the medical field, a lot of nursing homes way back when would not use the infrared stuff and, the little scan ones. We always went to like an electric probe style where you push it in and it hooks a probe on, you put it under their tongue. Why would a lot of nursing homes, and for that matter, hospitals still use stuff like that? Because it's accurate. Okay? Just like this is going to be accurate. And a lot of the digital stuff, like I'm describing, it's accurate to a degree. You use it a couple of times, or you get in cold weather, or maybe it's been a couple of months. The batteries aren't where they're supposed to be. And I know watch battery technology has come a long ways, but there's still that off chance that it's not as accurate as it could be. This is still an analog style, okay? So the accuracy is always pretty well going to be, unless, for whatever reason or another, you drop it and things like that, it's going to take something bad to actually happen. Not just random, it's not accurate. That's why I don't rely on the digital stuff. That's why I rely on something like this still. And again, it's actually ridiculously easy to read. I can bring it right up to the camera and show you exactly what I'm talking about. You look right there, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50, 60, okay? It'll tell you. And you just got to be able to read the markers and lines in between. So this is an absolute must. Now, when it comes to putting tire, air in your vehicle, the tire, airing up the tires, I can't talk today. When it comes to doing all that, it's actually ridiculously easy. If you go over to the sidewall of your tire and you read the small letters and numbers, a lot of times it'll tell you what it's supposed to be at, okay? Which I can come over here to one of the tires and immediately right there on the sidewall of this particular tire, it says 51 PSI. Okay, so I would know on the dial when I check the tire pressure, it's just supposed to be that first marker right above the 50. That's as easy as it gets. That's all you have to do. You check all your tire pressure. You check the tire pressure. And actually, most people don't do that anymore, but they should. Checking tire pressure should be something that everybody should know how to do. Even if it's simple as what the old truck drivers used to do. They would come out and kick the tire, and basically, by how much your foot would kind of bounce back, they could tell you if it was full enough. Even if it's something as simple as that old technique, which I've never really been super good at it, I recommend at least doing something like that at least once a week. Now, if you know any old truckers who could teach you that trick better than I can, because like I said, there was one that I was never that good at, I definitely recommend it. All right? So there you go. We have covered the mundane to the very important things that a lot of times people just don't do when they're getting ready to make a long trip, and the next thing you know, they're all broke down, and they could have avoided it. They really could have avoided that breakdown. So consider this your safety, the best safety tip that I can give you this holiday season. Check over your vehicle before you make that drive, because the last thing I would hate to hear is, man, I was coming back from my family's the holiday season. My car broke down, and it was cold, and the kids were in the back. I'd hate to hear that happen to any of you. Luckily, it's never happened to me, but a couple of times it got close to it. And believe me, this time of year it can get very cold. It's been windy where I'm at, and it's actually been pretty nice out while filming. For once. Yeah, I haven't been able to film in a couple of days because of how bad the weather is. So, there you go. I was able to give you guys your quick tips, and I hope you guys use them to your advantage this holiday season. So that brings us to a good stopping point for this this video. First thing I want to tell y'all is, besides the usual stuff, number one, be safe this holiday trip. It's a little bit different today than it was a couple of years ago. We live in some very strange times, and this is kind of across the globe. So be extra careful out there. Also, after the holiday season, if you're thinking of dear old Prince Magnum, you might want to consider becoming a member of the Patreon account. Become a member of the High Mileage Club on Patreon for the Prince Magnum channel. All proceeds go back into the project cars. And I haven't gotten a good close enough look at it, but we're looking at putting some other stuff up there that only the Patreon subscribers can see. And along with that, we can even get into debates and do other stuff that you just can't do here on YouTube. So we're going to take a good long look at a lot of that, and hopefully y'all will come over and become members, and we can have all sorts of fun with Patreon as well. Because I've heard some really cool stuff happening on Patreon. Along with that, we still got the Teespring store, and as time progresses, a lot of the stuff that Princess Faye put on there will be going away. So if you like that stuff, you might want to consider getting a good look at it, and that sort of thing. I have my reasons for why, but even though technically, it's just one of those things. As time progresses, that stuff will go away. So we pretty well covered it. So that brings us to this spot. And that is, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is. Just do something with yourselves. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for all of you out there, if no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.